Sometimes a project performs better on paper than in person. This is what happened with the Huffy Scout that will require me to go back to the drawing board. Coming up right after this. I want to say thank you for bearing with me during my vacation. It was a fun couple weeks off with my family, and tiring to say the least. Especially doing 5 whole days at Disney theme parks with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, I think we are still recovering from the trip. Now that we're back, I'm getting back into the swing of things. And here comes the dreaded part. I ask if you enjoy the content, hit that like and subscribe. It keeps me motivated to continue making videos. And if you really want to be monetary support for the channel, check out my Patreon and get early access to videos along with news about partnerships and collabs. If you've seen my previous videos, ever since I bought the Scout, it was always intended to be a pump track bike. I just like to be different, and I like a project, so this was a good one to take on. Now, a lot of the parts used for the project I had laying around. The fork, pedals, tires, cables, and while looking at this stuff, I said to myself, that's all I need to get this thing functional again. However, sometimes a build is less functional than required. Justin of Alchemy Tattoo PA, and if you're ever in Northwest PA and want an amazing tattoo, look him up. He's an amazing artist. Anyway, he messaged me via Instagram letting me know that he was at our local pump track. Being a person that will never pass on a ride, I grabbed my helmet and bike and kissed the wife and kiddos and headed to the track. Of course, because it was last minute, I didn't have my equipment charged. I know, I should plug it in once I'm done with it. And I figured it's a little John at the pump track, no need for the camera. Boy, was I wrong. After getting to the pump track and meeting Justin there, and knowing where I was lacking on my previous attempts at clearing the double, I decided that's the first thing I'm going to try. So after building up some speed, I am finally able to clear the double. And that's when I realized clearing that double is making me carry more speed into the large berm that's immediately after the double. I tried to bleed off some speed by going lower than I normally would in the berm. However, that made my Michelin Country Rock tires roll and rolled hard. So I hit the pavement going at a pretty good clip and scraped off quite a bit of elbow skin and knee skin. So broken and gnawed out, I gave myself a few minutes to recover, along with some paper towels to take care of my elbow. So I head out again, and something just doesn't feel right. At this moment, I should have just called it a day and reevaluated the bike's condition. After going down the one stretch of pump track, I'm still not sure what's happening, but I went OTB into the mulch. Now, I did hit my head a little bit, and I didn't think anything of it because, I didn't have a headache or anything like that. Wasn't seeing stars. I just had some mulch on my face. Well, a few days later, I find out that there's a crack in my helmet. Not even knowing there was a crack, I decided, well, I'll stay here and hit the pump track again. And we all have those days when we just think everything's going wrong. I mean, everybody has it. But Justin, suggested I increase the pressure in my tires. And after we adjusted that, I was going to hit it again and realized it still didn't feel right. So after looking down, I noticed my pedal at about an 80-degree angle to the crank. I can only speculate that this must have happened during the first crash, and that's why it felt so weird right before the second. So the first stage on this build is I will have to call a failure. The cranks, which are some, IXF Chinese Hollow-Tech style crank, strip where the pedal meets the crank and will need to be replaced. I thought these cranks were decent quality, but they will not stand up to the rigors of a 300-pound guy on them. And it may have been just because, I crashed and the tire rolled out for me and just the sheer force of it hitting the ground. Next, my front brake cable is banged up. Now this isn't such a big deal as I want to set a hydraulics on the rear anyway, so I can get rid of the front brake entirely. And the tires. I got these tires a few years ago to make more of a street cruiser. They are only 1.9 inches wide, and I really think this is the main reason why the build failed. Because I think the tires were the main reason this all happened, I'll be moving to some 2.3 inch Kenda K rads. This is what Justin rides on his beautiful dirt jumper, and has some decent luck on them. Not a lot of people have dirt jumpers in my area, so there isn't many people I can take recommendations from. As for the crankset, I would like to go with a BMX steel crankset. I really think this is the only way this build will work. However, this is where I'm ignorant and I need your guys' help. If they make a threaded bottom bracket for BMXs, most of all I know are press fit. Or I need some type of threaded bottom bracket that will fit the 19mm spindle of a BMX crank. If any of you guys or girls know the answer to this, please chime in below. I am hopeful these changes, along with the brakes, will allow me to call the bike finished. So of course, all this happened off camera. So a lot of what you're seeing is, playback and in the aftermath. But one thing I did not do was give up. Even after the first wipeout, I messed myself up pretty good. I still got up and tried again. Even though I probably should have inspected the bike more, now I have a nice scar on my elbow and my knee, and I think anything I need pads before I fix the bike. So we may not see the Huffy for a bit, since the priority at the moment is pads and a new helmet. Video for next week, which is a bit exciting for me, at least, and I can't wait to share with all of you. But hit that bell notification so you don't miss an upload, and as always, it's not about the lemons life gives you, it's about the lemonade you make with it. Thanks.